everyone, my name is Camilla, and today I will be telling you my June wrap-up. So in the month of June, I read 8 books. Read/listened. The first book I read/listened to was the second book in the Precious Stone series, which is Sapphire Blue by Kirsten Gier. First book is called Ruby Red, and this is the second book, and then the third book is called Emerald Green. It is a young adult time-traveling series. Something that I really enjoyed about it was the characters, and I wish that there were more stories about the characters in this universe. I have a full Let's Talk About It video about this series, and I will link that in the description. For Sapphire Blue, I gave 3 out of 5 stars, and then Emerald Green, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in June was The Heir by Kira Cass. It's actually 20 years after the selection. A lot of things that I had issues with, mainly some of the characters, like the main character, but it still gave me the feels. It was still fluffy, wonderful, young adult romance. I gave The Heir 4 out of 5 stars. I also have a full Let's Talk About It video. I will post that and leave a link in the description. The next book I read in June, which has been on my summer TBR and it was in my June TBR, and I'm so glad that I finally finished it. It was Serafina by Rachel Hartman. This book, I'd say, is young adult fantasy, obviously. It is about the society after a great war, and they live with dragons who can actually transform into looking like human beings, which I thought was interesting. I really enjoyed the world building and the fantasy part of it. There wasn't too much that I didn't like about this book, mainly sometimes just a little bit slow. Overall, I gave Serafina 4 out of 5 stars. The next book of the Serafina duology just came out, and it is Shadow Scale. It still had great plot, great characters, and great writing, so I really enjoyed the duology series altogether. Again, Shadow Scale, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in June is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I originally started reading this, I don't remember, a while ago, and I put it down, not because I didn't enjoy it, but it just wasn't what I wanted to read at the time. Now that the movie's coming out, I wanted to read it. So this is a young adult cancer, but not really cancer story. The main character is named Greg, and one day Greg's mom comes up to him and says, "Your friend Rachel has leukemia." And the thing is with Greg, he has concocted this plot of how to get through high school to be friends with everyone, but not actually being friends with anyone at the same time. And he kind of pulls it off well until he starts hanging out with Rachel, who's dying. It's really funny. He's kind of a jerk in a self-deprecating way, and I actually really enjoyed it. There are some crude jokes and some language in it, which I didn't appreciate. I mean, I never appreciate that. But it was just really, really funny, and it was a great, good feel book. I read it in one sitting, and altogether I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, just because that there was so much swearing and crude jokes. The next book that I read in June is A Million Suns by Beth Revis. This is the second book in the Across the Universe series, and I've been trying to finish for forever. I finished this book. I gave A Million Suns 3 out of 5 stars, and it probably should have been a 2 or 2.5, probably a 2.5. It's because the first one really gripped me because we delved into this story and this universe and what was going on, and this one it wanted to have suspense, but it didn't. It was a lot of just running around trying to figure things out. So I can't really tell you too much about this book because there are big spoilers at the end of the first book, and in this book, and in the end of this book to the third book. So yeah. The last book that I read, but I actually listened to, was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. Whew! This book was so amazing. I loved it. Anna read it and she told me to go read it, and I did, and it was amazing. It is a young adult fantasy, kind of dystopian, not really dystopian because it's fantasy, but has some of those dystopian feels within the fantasy world. It just blew my mind. The characters, the plot, The story, the writing was so good. I just can't put it into words. It's so good. We follow two protagonists, Elias and Leah. I gave Ember and the Ashes 5 out of 5 stars. This is only like the second or third, maybe second book that I've given 5 out of 5 stars to this year, and it just, whew, it's great. It definitely doesn't shy away from the brutality of things, but it hit home on a lot of important life-making decisions that the characters have to make. It was just really enjoyable to read and listen to. I could just go on and on and on. Alright, thanks very much, guys. Subscribe, leave a comment if you've read any of these books, and if you've liked them, or if you have a different opinion on them, and if you've read a book that is like one of these books that I have liked, please recommend it to me. I always accept recommendations because there are so many books in the world, and sometimes it's hard to figure out what to read next. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!